Welcome. So you're curious about becoming a National School of Character. What I want to share with you is not necessarily the roadmap, but some tricks and strategies along the way so that you can self-evaluate where you are on this journey. Would it be wonderful to become a National School of Character? Absolutely. But even if you don't get that distinction, who you become along the way is really transformative. So where do you start? You start with the 11 Principles of Effective Character Education Blue Booklet. Because when you and a heterogeneous group of your staff, students, community members, and all key stakeholders get on the same page, you're able to get a big overview of each principle and then spell out each of the individual indicators as written in this book. Then you can get an understanding of what it looks like, sounds like, and feels like to be living each of these principles. So first up, read through the 11 Principles of Effective Character Education booklet. Then you may want to join us in October in Atlanta for Character.org's National Forum. What you'll find at the forum are educators just like you and experts in the field, as well as National Schools of Character award winners who will be presenting real-world implementations, strategies, activities, and tools and resources that you'll be able to utilize the next day when you go back to your schools to help elevate and bring to life each of the principles. If you can't make it to the forum, you can explore our website. You can look at the promising practices that are online and some of the other resources. Perhaps you want to participate on some of the webinars or even invite us to do some professional development at your school around the 11 principles. If you're like, okay, we got that all covered, we know that we want to submit an application, I just want to give you a little hint of what was helpful when I worked with the National School of Character in 2012, Radians College. It was actually a K-12 school in Puerto Rico. And what they did was, after they had the professional development, about 3 years later, they decided they were ready to put in their application. So again, they pulled a heterogeneous group of stakeholders together, and they had been collecting artifacts that exemplified each of the principles. They had a shared drive, and they had folders on the computer corresponding to each of the 11 principles. They also had boxes in their classroom and in the staff lounge where they were able to collect different resources and artifacts that proved that they were doing the 11 principles. They took 3 days when they were writing their application to pull together several of the staff members to go through the artifacts and to find out the ones that really showed with strength, proving each of the principles and the indicators. And then they decided which ones they would use, and they made bullet items as proof of the indicators. Then there was one courageous person. And remember, this is in Puerto Rico where Spanish was their primary language. The person who was actually really good at English and as one voice took all of their bullet items and their artifacts, and they wrote the first draft of the application. Then they brought all of the stakeholders back together and they read through and they edited to make sure that what was written in the report really exemplified the great things happening at their school. And they submitted the application. Now, once an application is submitted, what Character.org does on our end is we have at least 2 evaluators that read through your application, and we score it using the same rubric that's spelled out in the 11 Principles Blue Booklet. If you get a score, if you earn a score of 3.3 or greater, then you become a National School of Character finalist. All of the finalists either get a school site visit so that we can see your school alive in action. We can interview different stakeholders at your school just so that we can see that what you wrote about, any clarity or misperceptions or things that you were strong in, there's really proof face to face. And if we don't get the honor of coming to your school, then we will Skype in or we'll have a phone interview with our heterogeneous group of stakeholders again. And so if you indeed absolutely score again and there's true evidence, 3.3 or above, then you will be honored as a National School of Character. Now, again, regardless of whether you get this distinction or not, it really is about the journey. So are you going to submit an application right as you get started on this journey? Probably not. It takes many schools 3, 5, 7 years to become a National School of Character. But every time that you go through the self-evaluation process or even the evaluation process with character.org, we'll give you feedback, and it helps you strengthen not just what's happening in your character education program, but you'll see evidence of academic achievement that's hopefully improving. Your discipline referrals will be improving. Your attendance data will be improving. The feeling in your school, the collegiality, and just the overall happy climate. So regardless, you should be able to see an improvement in many different facets of your school. So let's say that you realize and you've done your evaluation and you know that you're really strong in one or two of the principles. Instead of putting in a full application, you can submit a promising practices application as well. And so there'll be more information about how to do that on the website in the upcoming months. So now it's an opportunity for you and your community to think, are we ready? Have we downloaded the 11 principles and we've really taken a deep dive to go, yeah, we're living these principles? Or do you want a little bit more inspiration and you're going to be joining us at the forum in October? Or maybe you think, yeah, I need some direct instruction, and you'll be participating in a webinar or inviting us to your school to do professional development. Or you may be like, yeah, been there, done that, and we are ready to submit. Wherever you are on your journey is absolutely perfect, and we are here to support you. So we look forward to receiving your application, seeing you at the forum, or having the honor of doing professional development with you. And remember that character is what happens when nobody else is watching. On behalf of character.org, we wish you much joy, meaning, and purpose along the way.